Hey guys, welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shanna. If you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4 who is going into our 6th year of homeschooling. Let me count. 7th year of homeschooling. And we come here and we share our lives, our homeschool decisions, curriculum, things like that. And every once in a while, I come on and I get a little ranty about some random things, and that is going to be this video. Guys, before we go any further, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. Now, here's the preface. I try to not get too heavily involved in political things here. I have very strong feelings. Some of you may think that you know my leanings or what my feelings are, and I assure you that you do not. Why? Because ever-changing, ever-evolving. I no longer align with either side. Both sides are grossly disgusting. Both sides have found new and amazing ways to offend. Both sides absolutely have an agenda, and politics has maybe not, I'm not so naive to say that politics is just now entering education. That's of course not. It's always been that way. It's really honestly founded that way. But I just feel, I'm also not so naive to tell you that this is a new and unique problem to our times. It is not. The situations that we're dealing with, the topics that we're grappling with, they are very much specific to these times, an evolution of times, if you will. It used to be, you know, sex or race, and now, well, somehow it is still sex and race, but it's also, it's blossomed to whole new things. So I do actively try to come here and not make things political, because that's not what it's about. But there's just increasing absurdity in the world that I feel like, even speaking any manner, speaking in any small capacity about education or educational decisions, it's impossible to ignore these days. And I have seen so many things recently that are just insane. And you guys know I'm in Texas, and we've been watching a lot of things happening in Florida. Like the fact that we can get legislation to outlaw the mention of menstruation in schools faster than we can get legislation to keep mass murderers out of school is insane. And I honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to post this video. I just feel very strongly right now that I need to say it. I don't even know if this video will stay up, because let's not kid. All of these topics are things that YouTube is like, oh, we don't talk about that. Oh, we don't talk about that. All of these topics are things that somehow society says, oh, we don't talk about that. And that's the problem. We used to be a society where if things would offend, we actively avoided them, right? Like you didn't talk about religion, you didn't talk about politics, you didn't talk about those things with your friends so that you could stay friends. However, in this new age of social media where people are emboldened to say just the most insane things, and then other people see it and they're emboldened to jump on that wagon, I really feel like, I genuinely, and I've always felt this way, I feel like there are about 2% of the population that is so far here and so far here. However, they are the loudest. And I genuinely think everybody else in the middle is in the middle, okay? I don't think most people on the face of the planet are running out to try to get their, you know, homosexual teenager gender therapy. I don't think that's happening. I don't think most people are running out to get, you know, new gender therapies for their children if they're questioning their identity. I don't think that's the case, but we hear about, right? We hear about these extremes, these absolute extremes. There's all of this anti-grooming legislation, which I would just like to point out, there was quite a bit of that was just proposed by a nice little fellow here in Texas. I don't remember his name. I want to say it's like Brian Slayton, something like that. Just a little backstory on the absurdity of the situation, is a former pastor. He is on his second wife, who they were maybe going to divorce, but then maybe didn't. However, he's introduced a bunch of anti-grooming legislation because don't forget, drag queens are the problem. However, Home Slice was like filling up his 19-year-old intern with alcohol and then threatening her about the things that they did. But you know who's scary? Drag queens. Guys, I have really strong feelings on this. It is so insane to me. And I just want people to think about this logically. Just once in a while, somebody to stop and say, oh wait, that's crazy. And I think a lot of people think it, but not enough people say it. And I really think that there's some people who something crazy happens and they're like, well, I agree with that, so that's okay. But someday it's going to be something that, you know, we've greased the skids. It's so easy to pass absurd and insane things that there's going to come something you don't agree with, and then it's going to be too late. So we've taken the power of the librarians and the teachers away, who we trust. Guys, you know, I choose home education. I feel like that's the best path for us, okay? But I am a huge supporter of the public education system. Do I think it needs reform? Absolutely. But am I going to take every ounce of power away from the teachers? No. Why? Because those are the people in the front lines. Those are the people who know what is up. We do not give them enough credit. We do not give them enough funding. And certainly, I honestly believe 98% of the population is giving them their absolute worst byproduct as far as their children are concerned with their behavior. All of this comes back to a parenting situation. If there is a book you don't want your kids to have access to, guess what? You tell your kid and you expect them to listen. If there's something your kid reads that you didn't love, you maybe have a discussion with them. You don't just necessarily ban every book in the library or keep things from being able to be read by everyone because you have a concern or you have an issue with it. I know this is extreme. I know nobody's going to agree with this, but my theory is always like, the danger's in the phone. The danger's in the things they're learning from their friends. People aren't reading a book and getting all these crazy ideas. It's not coming from the books, people. And then even if it is, if they're reading it, at least they're reading it. They're not watching it on their phone. If you know what I'm talking about, that P word. I mean, can we at least appreciate that? No, nobody ever thinks about that. I know this is going to be a controversial topic. I absolutely know it, but I think there are genuinely more people out there who agree with me than who will vilify me for this. And there will be some, and I am totally prepared for that. And you guys know, in this sphere, it makes me sound cooler than I am, like a public speaker, public personality, whatever. But things like this, saying things, trying to have people put on their logical brains, is divisive, right? Like there's a big risk that I could get canceled for this, or, you know, sponsors could quit calling or whatever. But I think it's something that absolutely needs to be said. I don't know when the world went so crazy. Like this thing about drag queens in schools and reading to children. Guess what? If this volunteer schedule was filled up with parents, there wouldn't be room for them, right? Recently happened to us. We went and saw James the Giant Peach here in Houston. It was awesome. It was wonderful. One of the ants is played by a man. Oh, the vapors. Because this has not happened in theater since the always. Why? Because women weren't allowed to perform in theater. So, okay. I sat through that program. I watched it. Do you know what happened? Whenever the kids found out that there was a man in a dress, they giggled. And the world kept spinning. I saw nothing in that entire play. And guys, I'm not trying to say my mind's in the gutter a lot of the times, but it is. If there's something that I think can make me giggle, Lord knows I'm gonna find it. I just don't understand, because right after that, there was a kindergarten class. One mom heard or saw something she didn't like and then went and had the entire field trip for like the entire school district, whatever, canceled. Guys, if you don't like it, if you don't approve of it, you make that decision for your kid. There's no reason you need to try to make that decision for my kid. And I think that's where politics has gone off the flippin' rails. I am huge fan. I'm gonna make the decision for me, absolutely, but I'm 100% going to respect the decisions that you make for you because I don't want you making the decisions for me. And I think that's where we have gone off the rails so far because you wanna make the decisions for me. And me, I wanna make the decisions for you. No, 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 no. No, we are all about liberty and freedom in this country, but that means I'm making the decisions for me and you need to back off. Okay, so this has gone, we now have gone so far off the rails that it is unacceptable. It is unacceptable, and I genuinely believe this is unsustainable. So right now, the squeaky wheel is getting the grease. Right now, that is happening, and right now, you might even agree with those squeaky wheels. But it's coming for you. Why? Because the cart always turns. It's going to come for you. And these crazy overbearing legislative practices that have been put in place are going to come for the things that you don't agree with, and it is coming for you. Just logically, and again, logical brain right on my head here. Okay, let's say that theater situation, okay? There are actors who, first of all, have managed to make a living acting in Houston. The entire premise of this theater is they do field trips and shows for kids. Do you really think that they're going to risk all of that just to try to turn your kid gay or trans? Like, has it occurred to anyone the absurdity of the path that it takes to think that these people are willing to sacrifice 100% of everything that they have built just to target your children? What is the vanity that goes into that? I mean, honestly, while we're on this topic, if you are not aware, there is a fantastic Instagram account by Miss Carrie The One. It is called Math is a Drag. And yep, guess what, guys? It's drag queen. Fabulous, absolutely, who goes on and teaches you kind of complex math facts in a funny and entertaining way, and I absolutely love it, and I will link it down below, and it is my favorite, absolute favorite new thing, and part of that is just out of spite. Because, for example, I mean, and I can get behind a lot of this, okay? I don't know that we should be having our schools address a lot of the things that some of them maybe have begun addressing. But again, that's a lack in your parenting, and that is a family, a home situation, okay? That is a situation at home. People aren't parenting. People aren't doing that. Things are falling through the cracks. So yet again, our schools are having to pick up slack on things that should be taught at home. Things that should be addressed at home are not being. Why? Because everybody's on a flippin' screen. 100% believe that. I 100% believe that it is because of screens, phones, disconnect in parenting. Everybody's like dopamine needs to stare at a screen and get instant gratification. Absolutely 100% I believe that. You can come at me, that's fine. But I believe that. So let's talk about drag queens in schools. All right, you don't want your drag queens coming. And first of all, the entire point is that you don't know they're a man. So it's not like they're out there parading the fact I am a man in a dress. The whole point is that they're actively portraying women. So they aren't even all gay, guys. I know, it's crazy. They're just fabulous people trying to live their lives. But the moral of the story is you don't want kids, drag queens coming to read to kindergartners in a public school. Cool, I totally get that. Why is there legislation that I can't take my own child to a drag show? Why is there proposed legislation that says someone else, and this is also the A laws, the way that the A laws are going is that if I know something about somebody else, I can rat on them and get them put in jail. Guys, we've gone 1984. It is not okay. Oh, which is another banned book. You know what else I'm going to link to? I'm going to show you the picture right here. Come and Take It is kind of a big thing here in Texas, and it's Mothers Against Greg Abbott. And again, I do not affiliate with any of these organizations. Why? Because extremes on any side are too extreme. Middle. Middle is a safe space. And my entire parenting, life, political philosophy is literally just don't be an asshole. That's it. That's all it takes to succeed in life and be a decent human being. If you wouldn't want me to do it to you, don't do it to me. If you wouldn't want me to tell you what to do with your kids, don't do it to me. If you want me to treat you half decent, do it to me, okay? Moral of the story, it's a fantastic little thing about books, and I I just have really strong feelings, and it is getting harder and harder and harder to keep my mouth shut on the absurdity that is happening in the world. Women menstruate, and if you didn't know that till right now, I'm real sorry. But if you like us, if you love us, if you want to get with us, if you want to make babies with us, it's really important that you understand all these things happen. Whether you are, my gay best friend who is my ally in life, you need to know about this. If you have a child who is a girl or a uterus or is going to go through menstruation at some point, you need to know this. If you have a parent who birthed you, and y'all do, guess what? You need to know about this. If you are a 5th or 4th grade boy who just absolutely possibly cannot stand the thought, and let me tell you, it's not the kids, it's their parents. It makes parents uncomfortable to talk about sex, to talk about menstruation, to talk about body parts. Guess what, guys? If you don't do it, somebody else is. If they don't learn the official terms in school, somebody else will teach them. And let me just let you know, the things on TikTok, the things on primetime TV, the phone that you let them keep in their pocket has much more information and much worse stuff on it than what that teacher is going to let them know about in class. And God forbid a 5th grade boy has to learn about something that might possibly make him uncomfortable, just so that he can support the other half of the mother-loving population, okay? And on top of that, those 4th and 5th grade girls need to know this more than those boys do. It is not fair that we are robbing them of education, because let's not kid, a lot of women don't understand their bodies the way that they should, okay? So I homeschool. I am thankful all the time that I am homeschool. I am provided the opportunity to give my children exactly the education that they deserve. I am provided the opportunity to give my children the education that the world will need them to have. I say this all the time. God gave me girls because he needed the women that I would raise for the world. Okay? If you think that you don't have a dog in this fight, 100% you do. If you think that this doesn't impact you, 100% it does. And if you think that this doesn't have anything to do with me yet, 100% it will. It's coming for you in some crazy or insane way, because it is broken out of the schools. It is not just, banned books in the schools. It's the fact that I can get a ticket or arrested or in trouble or sued in civil court for taking my kid to a drag show, not at school. That's not okay. Again, you may think that you know my political leanings. I guarantee you don't. I am 100% the fact that I want to have the freedom to make the decisions that I feel are best for me and mine. And I want you to have the exact same freedom, because I know that I want my freedoms and my liberties preserved the same way that you do. But do not try to enforce those on me. That is where this has gotten so far out of control. I know this is a long video, I know it's really ranty, and I don't even know if I'm gonna share it, and I don't even know if YouTube will let it stand up. But it is what it is. And I know a lot of people are gonna take very, very strong offense to this, and that's okay. It is what it is. Again, I fully respect your right to do what you think is best for your child, but that does not mean I respect your rights to do what you think is best for mine. Guys, I hope that you found it as helpful, entertaining, or informative. If you didn't, don't care. You know you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. I will link several things down below. Miss Carrie The One, more power. Thank you. There's a lot of things that my daughter has gotten because of your simple and concise explanation of things. Match Theater, show was great. Loved it. You're doing a wonderful job. It shouldn't be like this. And it will be as long as we continue to tolerate it.